All right, with this West 2 weather update, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tony Manolfi. Well, it looks like we're starting to see a fairly significant drop in the pressure now from hurricane hunters that are down in Tropical Storm Ian, and the winds are now up to 60 miles an hour. It looks like we're getting ready to see this thing start to rapidly develop. Let me show you now what's going on. You can see at 5 o'clock, we were at 1,003 millibars. Now here at 8 o'clock, we're down to 991. And in fact, the hurricane hunters in there are finding pressures around 989 just a couple of moments ago. So it is continuing to drop. Winds are starting to increase at about 60 miles an hour. There's the latest forecast cone. Again, the cone is from the 5 o'clock advisory. The intermediate advisories are only to update the winds, the movement, and the pressures, and that's kind of what we've got up there for you right now. So again, could be the beginnings of some rapid intensification. Of course, we'll keep you posted on that with the hurricane hunters that are now currently down in there. And speaking of them, let me show you what's going on. You can see they flew out of central Florida over towards Lakeland, and then now have been sitting and stewing around this storm. And you can see a big burst of thunderstorms there at the very, very end. And they've reported a pressure as low as 989 millibars at 10,000 feet in elevation. So again, either way you look at it, the pressure is dropping. And when pressure drops, winds go up, and that's what we're going to be watching there for you. Now, as scary as that may be, dealing with a Cat 3 or a Cat 4 somewhere in the southeastern Gulf of Mexico, I do want to point your attention to the end of the cone, day 4 and day 5. You can see some considerable weakening there, and that's due in part to some wind shear that we've been talking about. A front's going to kind of drop on in, and what that will do is bring across some southwesterly wind shear across this particular feature. When that starts happening, it tends to wreak havoc on the overall structure of the storm, and it then begins to weaken it. And that's going to be the trend there as we get into Wednesday night and Thursday. But until then, we're going to continue to see this thing develop. In fact, with the 5 o'clock advisory, tropical storm watches were posted for the lower Keys, and this may be extended, the watches for southwest Florida, as early as the 11 p.m. Advisory tonight. So of course we'll keep you posted, have the very latest information later on tonight. So we hope you'll tune back in and join us. Now let's talk about that front and the importance of what's going on here. There's the front. Currently it's coming through the Ohio Valley. This is going to move south, and then as it continues to move south and this storm continues to move to the north, eventually what will happen is that the front will increase the winds across the northern side of Ian, and that should start to gradually weaken the storm once it gets into the Gulf of Mexico, day 3, day 4, and day 5. Now remember, part of the reason why we are dealing with this potential rapid intensification is because it's over some incredibly warm waters right now in the northwestern Caribbean, just now getting into it, and that's what's helping aid development tonight. And again, we'll continue to watch that. Very little wind shear. Now, as far as the computer model tracks and trends are concerned, I do want to show you this. Looks like it just flipped over. I had it 2 seconds ago. I won't have the 18Z, the evening data just yet, but I will be able to show you from run to run what's been going on. 2 runs ago, we start to see that split in the forecast tracks. Look how it's bending back towards the east. And when we get the 9 o'clock update, which you're not going to see yet, you're going to see the yellow line and many of the other models kind of inch very, very close to the western side of the Gulf of Mexico. And it's interesting to note, Alex and I were just looking at this. Check this out. This is amazing. You can see pretty good agreement now. GFS coming back in line with the European. Look at that agreement. West Coast of Central Florida. That's 5 p.m. on Wednesday. And then as we forge ahead, you can see there's likely to be a little bit more of an adjustment of that cone to the east yet again tonight with the 11 o'clock advisory. Look at that agreement hugging the West Coast and lifting northeastward as we go through Thursday and then on into Friday. So that's one of the things that we're going to be watching. Earlier, we were worried about maybe a west track. That's becoming less and less likely. So with an east track, what does that mean? It means we're going to get the storm to potentially come in sooner. It means that's the landfall, of course. The storm may be a bit stronger. It may move a bit more quickly, and there's going to be a lot more impacts. And one of those impacts, if we're in that front right quadrant, will be the risk for severe weather, very strong winds around the core, the center where the storm track comes across central Florida. And when you talk about that front right quadrant, you have to talk about tornadoes. Usually with the tropical systems, they're not out west EF3s, 4s, and 5. They're usually EF0s, 1s, and an occasional 2, meaning winds are in that 65 to 135 mile an hour range. And the problem with tropical systems, there's so much moisture that you can't see what's going on in all of that heavy rain. There could be a tornado in there, and we call it rain wrapped. Intensity forecast. Again, we'll get these new runs here coming up tonight, right around 9:30. You can see the intensity forecast borderline anywhere from high Cat 2 to a low end Cat 4. So some of the things that we're watching for you. So I wanted to show you the Tropical Storm Ian timeline. There's Wednesday morning, and we may have to speed this up a little bit. We'll watch the evening runs tonight, but for now, by Wednesday morning, could be tropical storm force winds, gusts just south of the Tampa Bay area. During the afternoon and evening hours, all across central Florida, and then heading into late night, early Thursday morning, right along Interstate 10 as that storm system cranks up to the north and east. Let me show you some model comparisons here. This is the wind comparison, and you can see GFS a little bit stronger in the northwestern Caribbean. Not to say that the Euro isn't strong, but you can see the GFS has been inching more and more towards the east since late last night. Alex and I were on the air covering that. You can see right there, both of them right along the west coast or just barely offshore, meaning that the risk for higher winds has gone up now that we're seeing the models coming more in line, especially along the western side of the Florida Peninsula. So again, Tropical Storm Ian, flooding threat remains high. Severe risk is medium but may go to high, depending upon these trends here. We don't want to jump the gun just yet. We are going to be in that front right quadrant. Have we checked SPC yet for day 3? Just out of curiosity. Tropical storm wind gusts, and they got marginal in there. But yeah, that's going to change. All right, but they are seeing the stuff come out from the south. Yep.
Almost Polk County.
Yep. Storm surge along the east coast. We don't have to worry about that. It's the storm surge along the west coast that we will have to worry about things. Now, as far as the models go side by side, just looking at the raw data, there you go. Pretty good agreement, folks. Very good agreement. Northwestern tip there of Cuba. Again, this is the 18Z 2 o'clock p.m. forecast of the GFS and the early morning run of the Euro. We don't get the Euro evening runs in our weather computers, but you can see right there that the GFS is trending closer to the coast. The European is hugging the coast. Very good model agreement. So we've been showing this graphic a lot this week and updating with each passing day. So tonight you're topping off your hurricane kit. Monday you're doing the storm preps around your outdoors. I mean, if you got shutters, lock them up. If you're putting the ply locks up, go ahead and do that. Tuesday night, potentially some stormy weather moving in. We'll watch the trends on the models. But definitely Wednesday and Thursday we're going to have tropical storm, if not hurricane conditions, based on what we're seeing on the trends late this afternoon and evening. So we want to make sure you guys stay weather aware, keep checking back in, and of course we'll give you the very latest information as we get it. All right, rainfall amounts, kind of honing in on a lot of rain here, potentially 8 to 10 inches, maybe a foot in portions of Marion County, depending on how the track plays on out, but that's going to be a lot of rain, and that's one of the things we want you guys to be prepared for. And this is what you should be thinking about now as you're preparing for the storm. Have supplies ready: food, water, batteries, flashlights, medications. Finish that up tomorrow. Clear the lanai if you haven't done so. Tie down the loose outdoor items. Check the fuel for the generator, propane for cooking, and don't forget to fill up your car. Maria, you're welcome. Dana, you betcha. Allison, good to have you there. Annette, Tony Johnson, you guys know my motto, sharing is caring. The more people we can reach by you guys sharing these Facebook Live feeds, the more people we can put in the weather know. Frank Butchie, Pennsylvania, we got you covered, my man, over there in the West Coast. A little concerned about the weather he is, and rightfully so. One of the graphics I like to show is the potential wave action. And this is pretty amazing. Look at that yellow and the red, talking about maybe 35, 45-foot wave action with that storm along the west coast and the eastern side of the Florida Peninsula. So some of the things that we're going to be watching and analyzing over the next couple of days. Again, the GFS earlier in the day was pretty well off the coast there of central Florida. Now it's kind of backed on in a little bit closer to the European. Here's a look at the European computer model right here. I'm going to play this one out for you there. There's the Euro. There's that front, that drier air to the north. Again, the combination of the dry air and that front could lend way for weakening towards the end of that forecast cone. So again, that's what we're hoping for. One other thing we like to show, of course, are the forecast winds, the arrival of tropical storm versus hurricane. And here's the latest. You can see Tuesday 8 p.m. approaching the southwest tip there of Florida, coming ashore along the coast there Wednesday morning. I gotta believe that this is going to be a little bit broader and wider with wind shear picking on up. We call this a right side weighted storm. You get that southwesterly wind shear, and that tends to increase the winds on the eastern side of the storm. You kind of get like it almost looks like an anvil with the thunderstorm getting blown off to the right. I think that's going to be exactly what we're going to be dealing with here as we go through late Wednesday and Thursday once that shear does begin to pick on up. So again, reiterating now, starting to get some deepening. Low pressure has been dropping here a pretty good amount. Since 5 o'clock, it was 1,003 millibars. With the 8 o'clock intermediate advisory, you can see that the winds have jumped up to 60 miles an hour, and the pressure from hurricane hunters is down to 989 millibars now. 989 from a NOAA plane that's in there right now, just kind of examining everything. So we'll show that to you here right now. Here's the hurricane hunters. They're in there, they're churning, they're plugging, they're moving around, going through all sorts and all parts, long flights, getting all of that research together for us to bring you the very latest information so that we can relay it as soon as they get it. So it's pretty amazing stuff. The spaghetti models, one more time, they've been coming together. Anthony wanted to see that, so let me show you them. They have been tightening up throughout the course of the afternoon. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Let me run the animation here for you. I'm going to show it two ways, just the animation and then with the cone, just to kind of give you kind of a little bit of a background. There's all the models waiting on the 18Z run. That should be coming in here within the next 45 minutes. Again, the early afternoon GFS in the yellow is now about 40 to 50 miles farther east than the previous run. Last night they were going west. Most of the day they were going west, except for late last night, 11 o'clock. We saw that trend coming a little bit back towards the east. Now, with the cone, just to kind of see how these fall in line with the 5 o'clock forecast cone, you can see all of the models are now in there. And then you can see two distinct camps. One on the east side, one on the west side. With the shift in the GFS, I'm more inclined to believe that the models there that are hugging the west coast of Florida might be the camp to be in as far as accuracy is concerned. So there you go, Anthony. Hope that helped. J.C. Barber, east side, yep. Spaghetti season for sure. Why does the Euro look like it's... and it's coming right into Tampa or just hugging the coast near the Tampa Bay area. Either way, with any of these tracks that you're seeing here, I want to make this very clear. We are going to have impacts in central Florida on Wednesday and Thursday, for sure. And maybe even Tuesday night, again, if this thing does speed up just a little bit. And then one of our in-house models, our Futurecast graph model, is a little bit quicker than what the tropical models are indicating. So that's one of the things that we'll continue to monitor and watch over the coming days. But getting back to that cone, I want to break that down for you one more time. You can see that we think rapid intensification may now just be getting underway. Cat 4 potentially there on Wednesday, but towards the end of that cone, isn't like I don't know about 10th, but it's been a few now. Ryan's good point there. County by county, Denise, we're going to start that. We've got a shell put together, but we're going to hold off. We're going to hold off till tomorrow morning. I put together a couple of those graphics for tomorrow morning for Eric and Kellyanne. We've kind of built the shell for them. We want to wait to see what the overnight runs do, and then that'll give us a good 48 hours of prep time for you to kind of see what we're thinking and where things are going. So we're close, but I want to wait just a teeny bit more just to get those county by counties out. Jason, the way it's looking, I'm going to go with yes on that. Maria, you're welcome. Denise, you're welcome. Let's see. Good evening, Tony. Thanks. You got it. We got it. We do these things because we know that anxiety with tropical systems can sometimes be very high. And the other reason why we do it, even before this became an issue, is that we know that you guys have busy schedules. We know that, Ingrid, correct. We know that sometimes you have active family lifestyles there that, you're at a son's or daughter's athletic event, and you want access to the weather. You can get it right while you're doing that on your mobile app on wesh.com, or you can get it on your phone with any of our Facebook social pages. So there you go. Jess, you're welcome. Appreciate you. Polk is the farther west you go, at least for now, we think the stronger the winds are going to be. But if that trend continues to work east, the winds may become a little bit higher farther east. And again, that's the point we want to drive home here. I got another graphic I do want to show you. This is the probability of tropical storm force winds. There's a look now at 2:30 Tuesday. Again, not into Central Florida just yet, but you can see by 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, tropical storm force winds, you got a 5 to 10% chance there. And then it increases obviously throughout the course of the day, Wednesday and Thursday. And based on what the GFS is doing tonight, and we're going to wait on the other tropical models, there may be a slight shift closer to the coast there with the 11 o'clock advisories, just so you guys know. And will we get another tropical storm watch across southwest Florida, not just the lower Keys? That also a possibility that we'll be monitoring and watching as we go forward. So yeah, a lot to watch and look at, and that's what we're going to continue to do for you guys there as you track Ian with us. Again, if you're just getting in, hurricane hunters are in there. They've had a significantly lower pressure. 991 with the 8 o'clock intermediate advisory, and seeing down to 989 from the NOAA plane that's currently flying in there right now. These guys are just laboring away for us, trying to bring us the very latest information to make sure that we know what's going on every minute within the storm. And, we take that information, we relay it to you, we take that data, we throw it into the modeling centers, and we get those spaghetti pots. And you can definitively see over the last, I'd say, especially the last 12 hours, the model's kind of tightening up along the west coast of Florida. So our confidence is definitely going up. We've been talking about that the last couple of days, it'd take a little bit of time, but now we're getting there with confidence. So there you go. You can see tropical storm watches up for the lower Keys. This may be extended across southwest Florida as we get the 11 o'clock advisory tonight. Now, let me show you do want to show you, again, the concern that we think that maybe this could continue to move east with the coming advisories because of this front. This is moving southeast. And as that moves southeast, the winds here are going to pick up out of the southwest. That's going to create some wind shear by the time we get to Wednesday and Thursday. That wind shear, we're hoping, is going to help to weaken Ian as it continues to come northward through the Gulf of Mexico over the next couple of days. So that's why you're seeing that weakening there on the forecast cone as we go through the next 5 days. So this is going to shift to the east. As you can see, the last couple runs don't have any of the 00Z runs in yet, but that was the 2 o'clock models right there. That was the morning models right there. So you can see all day that shift back towards the east, and that is why we're becoming a bit more concerned for even more impacts across central Florida. We were hoping that maybe it'd be far enough to the west that they may be lessened, but with that trend back towards the east, that's something that has us a bit concerned, something that we'll be watching. All right, let me show you the 5-day forecast here, or 7-day, excuse me. 7-day forecast. Alex whipped this up today. We're calling Wednesday and Thursday, for now, weather alert days. Will it be pushed into Tuesday night? We'll wait another 24 hours before we make that call, but we definitely think Wednesday and Thursday. And we are going to be dealing with impacts from Ian, and likely there's going to be cancellations and whatnot here in central Florida, along the west coast, and even southwest Florida as we go through the next couple of days. It's something that we'll be watching for you. We get a new update tonight at 11. We get the new models coming up tonight between about 8:30 and 9:30. So with that, you guys should be all caught up. I'm going to let you go now, but I would love to see you guys come back and meet up with us tonight at 10 on the CW18 and following Sunday Night Football on NBC. You guys are always a great group. We'll be back here tomorrow doing what we do and covering the storm there for you. Hope to see you guys tonight at 10 and 11. Take care.